or get our children into learning another trade aside the white collar job. So yes, the art of welding is going to be the conversation on the lifestyle segment. Then also on the business segment, we're going to be discussing the AI revolution, whether it's an economic engine or it's going to be a job killer. So you join the business segments for that. And on the main segment, we're going to be discussing the medicine security and free healthcare, if Ghana is prepared to sustain that. So we're going to be having some doctors from the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana joining us to, give us some expositions on that as well. But for now, let us prepare to be motivated. A new week has begun. We like to motivate ourselves and our viewers. And today's quote is by Winston Churchill. This is saying, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And this, again, is by Winston Churchill. Now, this quote challenges the way people usually think about achievement and defeat. It reminds us that neither success nor failure has the power to define a person permanently. Success can feel like a destination, but in reality, it is only a moment in a longer journey. If you treat it as an endpoint, you risk becoming complacent, losing the drive that helped you to reach it in the first place. On the other hand, failure often feels overwhelming, as though it marks the end of possibility. But failure too is temporary. It does not carry inherent finality unless you allow it to stop you. Many meaningful accomplishments are built on repeated setbacks, corrections, and persistence. Now, what Winston Churchill emphasizes as the true measure of character is not whether you succeed or fail, but how you respond to both. After success, do you keep striving? After failure, do you rise again? Courage here is not about dramatic bravery. It is the quiet, consistent decision to keep moving forward despite uncertainty, doubt, or past outcomes. In that sense, life is less about isolated results and more about sustained effort. The people who ultimately achieve lasting impact are often not those who never failed or those who succeeded once, but those who refused to stop, who understood that every outcome is a part of a process, not the conclusion. So today, this is the quote for the day. I hope that it motivates you as it has motivated me. Success is not final. Failure is also not fatal, but it is the courage to continue that counts. I'm sure this is a very inspiring quote for you as you began your week. And so let us push on, let's persevere. The success is not the final destination. The failure is also not the final destination. Up next is the online and print review along with the weather report. Do stay tuned. Koko Digest Morning Show, and if you're just tuning in, it's time for our online and print review. But before that, my co-hosts are here with me in the persons of Peter Nsia and Bevelyn Anobil. And Peter will be taking us through the weather report right now. Good morning.
Good morning, Elia.
I hope we're well.
Up and grateful, divine selection.
Bevelyn, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Despite all the issues, we are still alive and kicking.
Yes, I know the exact issue. We'll get into that soon. So, Peter, what should we expect for the weather?
So today, as usual, this is from the Ghana Meteorological Agency. And today, they are saying that throughout the country this morning, it is going to be partly cloudy, except that the people of Nelerigu should expect there's a 40% chance of rain this morning for the people of Nelerigu, and the people of Sunyan and Goso, it's misty. And so whenever it's misty, GMET advises that drivers reduce their speed and use their headlight. And as the day progresses into the afternoon, Aflao, Accra, and Kaswa, GMET is saying that it's going to be sunny. It's going to be sunny with a temperature ranging from 30 to 32 degrees Celsius. But the people of Cape Coast, Takrade, Axim, Ho, and Koforidi Akimotha, there's a 30% chance of rain this afternoon. So the possibility of it raining in these areas is 30%. And then the people of Kumasi and Obuasi, it is going to be sunny, like for the people of Aflao and Accra. And then the people at Takwa, Sefibekwa, Kitikrachi, and 8 environs, there's a 40% chance of rain this afternoon. And then the people of the northern region, Bole, Damango, Boligatanga, Nererigu, this afternoon, there's a 40% to 30% chance of rain this afternoon. As the day progresses into the evening, the people of Aflao, Accra, it is going to be partly cloudy with a temperature of 28 degrees Celsius. So it isn't going to be that cold. It isn't going to be that hot as well. And as usual, as Beverly stated, this time around we are experiencing, something that you said we'll talk about. I don't want to go there. And so, you can open your windows, but beware of other brothers and sisters too, who have employed themselves in other sectors that are illegal.
Right.
And also the people of Axim, Ho, Koforid, the people of Axim and Ho should also expect there's a 40% chance of rain in these areas. And so the people of Kumasi, Obuasi, Sefibekwa, through to the northern sector, there is a 60 to 40% chance of rain this evening. And so the people in the northern sector should, take notes and expect this. So basically, this is all I have for viewers on the weather report today. And so basically, the people in the north this evening should expect rain. And then this morning, it's mostly partly cloudy across the country. And then in the afternoon too, the people of the north should expect some showers of rain. And that is 40% chance. And then those in the middle and transition belts too, there's a possibility of rain in some aspect of it. But Accra, Aflao, and Kaswa remain sunny this afternoon, so viewers should take note.
All right, thank you so much. So that's the weather forecast for today. Let us take note and also do the needful. Now let's get into the word of the day. The word of the day for today is conceptual. Conceptual. So it describes things that are based on ideas or abstract thoughts rather than concrete physical facts or finished products. It refers to the stage where you are still working with mental concepts or general principles. So concepts are things that are based on ideas or abstract thoughts rather than concrete physical facts or finished products. Now, the words that are similar in meaning to something that's conceptual, we have abstract. So when something is abstract, it is not physical. Then the next word is theoretical. That means it's based on a theory. Then notional, that means it's in the mind. And then hypothetical, a what-if idea. Then the words that are opposite in meaning to the word conceptual, we have concrete, which means physical or real. We have tangible, which is touchable Then we have practical, that is useful and applied. Then we have factual, that means the thing is based on facts. So this is the word for the day, conceptual. I hope to hear you use it in maybe some of your comments and questions you'd have for us. And also I hope to hear my co-hosts also using it. So yes, that's the word for the day. Peter, do you have any bars for us?
Today there's no bars, but I just want to form a sentence with it, that today's conversation is going to be more conceptual than practical. I don't know if you agree that today's conversation is going to be conceptual.
I think the opposite anyway. We'll be bringing hardcore facts experiences.
Interesting.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Peter has said it all. So our viewers should, stay tuned.
Right. Okay, so just get into the online and print review. So I hear you have your digitalized or digitized newspapers.
Yes.
What do you have for us, please?
So this morning on the Mirror, I have a page, is it page 3? And they're saying that 3 men remanded for alleged theft of company vehicles in Takwa. There's another story says that people are no longer taking eggs again. Eggs go waste at Kantamanto as demand drops. And I saw the story and I was asking myself, has people stopped, eating eggs? What probably could have gone wrong? I keep asking.
I think with this,
supply is just higher than demand.
So the price, this is where the pricing comes in. I mean, how much are they selling a crate of egg as compared to those in the market? And so if the difference is vast, people would want to buy directly from the market rather than purchasing from Kantamanto. I know, just to add up, over the weekend there was a program organized by GAU, Ghana Workers, Workers. Let me just. Yes.
Okay.
So they organized, this program, which is to give our farmers a direct market. So from the market to the table, so that consumers can get these things from the farmers directly rather than passing through the middleman. And so that program was organized.
Yes.
So then what happens to the middleman there?
The middleman will have to find another place on the value chain, because the middleman fees tend to be the reason these things go to such exorbitant prices, because they'll say they were the ones in charge of getting the goods from the farmer all the way to the table. It's probably cost a fuel and this and that and all of that, and they would also want to get profit. So aside whatever cost that was involved in the transportation of or that transition, they want something small on it. So there's a percentage. If that is cleared out direct,
prices
it benefits the consumer and then the farmer too.
It's like we mostly eat egg. Ghanaians cannot go without egg. Even our neighboring countries used to tease us, Ghanaians and egg like 5 and 6. But then when you go to the markets, even at the roadside, I don't really see this Nkusani Meku. I hardly see them these days. Maybe from my route, where I pass, but I hardly see them these days.
It's just that the supply chain has been disrupted because people are now moving towards the farmers itself, the producers, like Yaya rightly stated. The price as compared to the middlemen, those who go for it. And so, for the people of Kantamanto to ensure that they get they're able to sell their eggs, they should just reduce the prices and sell them
on the contrary, I have rather realized that there are more Kusianemeku sellers than there used to be.
Maybe from your route.
Yeah, from my route, because you'd be in the car, you'd see about 7 to 10 by the time you get to work, and it didn't used to be like that. Kusianemeku was not even something that used to be sold in traffic, but now you find more people selling. Because it seems to have become maybe another business avenue, and then we're hearing that.
But then, just earlier this Jimmy, I was just telling Felix in the MCL that I'll be selling Nkusani Meku.
Please look sharp, because if the demand has dropped, maybe the prices will also drop.
Yeah,
so you may get the eggs. Please, when you get them, please, I want some.
Does it also mean that government flagship program, the Nkukonkitinkiti initiative, is actually working? Because if we now have eggs in excess, then it means that at least there's something happening in the agriculture sector. And then this same issue, I think somewhere last month, this issue came up, and I think that the president directed that the schools should actually buy these eggs to feed the student. And so, I mean, I think as time goes on, it will be resolved so that...
You know, it's almost like you knew what I was going to say, because I was also thinking that if these eggs are no longer getting sold or the demand has dropped so much, why doesn't the government just look to pushing them towards the schools to feed the children? From the basic education, so I think it's, what was the name of the school feeding program? Yes. And then the free SHS. I mean, the eggs would definitely feed them. There are mouths to feed. There are so many people who are going hungry. There are so many kids who are malnourished. I mean, we all went through that in our time in SHS. So I'm sure that is still persistent, even though maybe it would have improved by now. If these eggs things, like, just so that we don't have food going to waste when people could benefit, we could channel that into the schools. So even if the schools don't buy them, maybe the government can probably, you know, compensate the sellers or producers and then feed the schools. It will help one way or another.
So I would like to conclude by saying that mothers at the Makola and the various markets, please reduce your prices.
Because even how much is one boiled egg sold? I think the last time I bought some was like, is it 4 cedis? The cooked one is 4 cedis. But the uncooked one, I think some people sell it for 3 cedis, sometimes 2 cedis, 50 pesos. That's I don't know for now. I think the crates myself.
The crates it ranges between 40 to 60 cedis depending on the size.
You get 40 cedis crate of egg.
Yes.
The last time I bought the least price was like 50 cedis.
Then maybe now that the demand has reduced, the price decreasing will start. So we are hoping to get eggs at a more affordable rate. So, yes, Peter, what do you also have for us?
Here I have with me the daily graphic and the bold story on the front page is Akosombo back on stream. And then we also have confront audit infractions with honesty. And this is from Accountant General to the Public Sector.
Not to cut you, but if you could please give us the sub-headline so that we understand the back on stream.
Okay, so 2 units restored, 4 recovery expected this week. This is according to the Energy Minister. Because you said we are going to talk about it, I don't want to.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and so basically that is what is making headlines on the daily graphic this morning.
Okay. Right. Thank you so much. So now moving to what I also have here, which is the matter at hand. No, if you know, because it's a serious issue, I would want to ask if you picked up any trends, you know, over the weekend, even yesterday, before we get into this matter.
Trend. For me, I've not seen any new trend in my time from the issue of discussion this morning. Peter, do you have any?
Yes, so the issue about Galamsey is still persisting. Like, it's so ongoing, but just that we don't get to hear of it more often as it used to be in the previous, year. But it's still ongoing. And then over the weekend, something transpired. But I would like to build up to get to where the chief of staff was seen, shedding tears while pleading with the chairman of the Pentecost Church to actually forgive. And so this issue about Galamsey is still ongoing, like I stated, with some, coalition against illegal mining, which the convener being Engineer Kenasibe has also proposed, a new strategy. And what they are proposing is that the MPA should also target, the supply chain of fuel, because the coalition described the lifeline of Galamsey as fuel, because without fuel, the chamfine machines and all other machines that are being used to embark on that illegal mining wouldn't be sustainable. And so they are calling the MPA to give a stricter, or they should monitor the supply of fuel, strictly. So basically what they are trying to say is that before you give out fuel, you sell out fuel, you should know where that fuel is going to. If it's being used for illegal activities, then it shouldn't be sold out.
Right.
And that bears the question that even when the MPA boss, Tamaklo, in one of his interviews with our sister stations, made mention of the fact that even the tanker drivers, their mates, anytime they go to supply, fuel, their mates tend to join the, miners because they've seen that what they are earning from that their service they are rendering is not as much as profitable as those mining. Because if at the end of the month he is receiving, let's say, 3,000, and then if he goes to mine, in a day he can get more than that. And so they go there, supply the fuel, and they lose one mate. So it has been, consistent. And so, and that begs the question that what are the conditions of service of the people we've entrusted to fight this illegal galamsey? We saw the deployment of the Blue Water Guards, their conditions of service, how much are they being paid as compared to where you've asked them to go and ensure that people do not come there to mine. We have this police and military. I don't want to say that they are not taking some huge amount, but there should be some incentives that when they go there, those people there cannot bribe them. So that we've heard stories that some of these people have become the informants of these, galamseyers, and that anytime they want to go, they'll just call them to see, we are coming, so just run away. It all boils down to the conditions of service. You don't expect me to fight against something that can, give me some huge amount of money in a day. And then what you expect me to do at the end of the month, I receive something less. And so I think going forward, in as much that I think that idea of monitoring the supply of fuel is very good, I think that they should look at the conditions of services of the people we've entrusted to embark on this journey. And then still on the same galamsey, the chairman of Pentecost made mention of the fact that because of the turbidity level of the waters, they can't embark on this baptism in water. And so they have to sort to using, plastic, they spool something for baptism. And that is where the CEO of the Ghana Free Zones, Dr. Mavis Awisi, made some comments, and the chief of staff had to, intervene by, pleading. And that's where we saw him shedding tears. I don't know if you saw the video.
I saw a section.
You saw yes. And
yes,
so
I also saw a few things, but I didn't pay critical attention. I thought it was more of a banter between two people.
Yes, so when the chairman of Pentecost made mention of that, the fact that illegal mining is currently out of hand and that something should be done about it, this CEO came to say that he is a pastor, and this is politics. Right. He should remain in his lane. Other than that, if he tries to talk about politics, she will deal with him like in a way that people in politics,
really?
So that is why.
How is galamsey politics? Is it not an illegal activity
that is the problem you are facing?
That we all as citizens have to fight against.
So because he's a pastor, he doesn't have the talk, because if you talk about it, the way they treat politicians, sometimes, excuse my word, the insult, politics of insult and what have you, and nobody would want to, insult a clergy, a man of God. And so she was saying that he should just, but lack of better word, mind his own business and allow the politicians.
The river is his business. That is where he's baptizing new Christians, into their religion. But even though what you're saying is true, it's not only limited to that with regards to the conditions of service, because if we look at it from only that angle, that are the people the government has entrusted to work in this field, to be able to keep this thing being paid more than what the galamseyers are earning. If we look at it from that perspective alone, we may fall short in that. Let me use even the example of the fraud that people, the online thing, romance comes. A lot of people are engaged in it, and they know, and others also hear about the fact that they get a lot of money and all of that. But you realize that not that many people are able to still venture into it because they know that it is wrong, and they know that they could get caught. They know that there are so many things that could go wrong there. So if we look at it from that aspect, then you realize that our arguments may fall apart. So one of the ways we can actually look at it is how to make it so criminal that no matter how much money is being made from it, it is still not attractive enough. Like maybe okay, death penalty is extreme, but maybe some sort of public punitive, actions that are taken against these galamseyers would make so many people not find it as attractive that, okay, is me being, maybe Yeyi Medi in the whole country on national television, is that worth earning maybe 3,000 cedis a day? Then you realize that people will start deciding, no, as much as galamsey, there's money in it, let me not go into it. Because, I mean, we've all heard about fraud, the hash puppies and the rest. But look at how, when they were apprehended by the FBI and all of that, everybody was just, in shock, thinking that, because we all thought, oh, these things, nothing will happen. But coming to find out that there are agents and CIA, all of these conspiracy theories and all of these, international Interpol bodies right here among us who are tracking people, you realize that, okay, you may become a scapegoat if you don't take care. If we criminalize these activities like that, I think we'll get a lot of people out of it.
Right. Let's even go back to later part of 2024, heading towards elections. We heard, we saw. In fact, people traveled all the way to this rivers to go and see the state of how bad they have destroyed our water bodies. That should tell you that it's a criminal act. And we should treat it as such. Some of these topics.
Yeah, so Yara, I understand you too perfectly. The reason why I made mention of the fact that it should be looked at is the fact that right from the fight against galamsey, after the deployment of these blue water guards and then the combination of the NIMOS, there has been stricter rules. They ban chamfine machines, they seize them. There are so many laws. There are so many laws to criminalize this activity, but yes, still, it is happening. And so I said this at the back of the proposal the coalition is making that the MPA should, monitor strictly the supply. And then if the MPA should monitor strictly the supply, let's say I owe a filling station and you come there with, let's say, 40 gallons to come and buy fuel. And I get to find out that you're going to use this fuel to, service your machines at some site for illegal mining. If I'm not if I don't love Ghana so much or for integrity reasons, and I get to find out and the person tends to give bribe or something, the possibility of the person taking the money and letting go is high. Because when we talk about bribery and corruption, we can't talk about bribery and corruption without talking about the conditions of service of people. Because some of these bribery that we see in our community is as a result of, let's say, greediness. Greediness is part, but then when you look at the condition of the person, you understand? If you look at the condition of the person, if the person is actually earning what he or she is working for, then that is justifiable. But then we can have all the rules and the regulation and whatever. If those that we entrust to ensure that the rules and regulations, work perfectly, are not taken into consideration, we are not doing anything. And
so if you go about this conversation, then we can talk and talk and talk because the first thing that we should consider here is integrity, okay? In as much as what you are being paid is not enough to take you through, but still, you are being paid, okay? That's the job you are supposed to do. And you are supposed to be accountable for whatever you are doing. You go into illegal money, it's a criminal act, but you still decide as an individual to still go into it. So if we go about this whole galamsey issue, I don't even know up to now, we have not still tackled galamsey.
It's based on what Peter is saying. It's because of the poverty rates. Everybody is looking for some way to make more money to be able to take care of themselves. Our standards of living are very, very high, or the cost of living is rather high, the standard of living is rather low. And like what Peter is saying, if the person is hungry, and you're also saying that, yes, you're being paid. You're being paid, and this money, you don't, usually when you listen to these financial, motivational speakers and all of that, they tell you to draw a budget and, have a percentage for savings. You decide to save the money today, tomorrow it is saving you. So even you cannot plan long term. These are all because of the fact that they are not earning enough or they are not making enough money and all of that. So it's more about creating, as Peter said, creating a better standard of living for the people where when all your basic needs are met, you will not be looking for other sources of income. Even if you are looking for another source of income, it's because maybe you want to create some sort of generational wealth for your generations to come, rather than right now, where I think last week we missed a story we wanted to talk about, which was about the woman who was threatening to divorce her husband. And from the video, as we watched, behind the scenes, we saw that her husband had Koko. It has a cocoa farm, has maize also, and the produce was all packed there, going bad because there was nobody to buy. Now, some 50 years back, this would have been a very rich man, But now, all of that effort, and it is going to waste in his house. She even showed her child holding, the sachet gari, that was what the child had to eat in the morning. And now she's threatening to divorce her husband if he does not sell these farmlands to galamseyers. Why is that? Because there is no money. There is no food to eat. Survival has become something that looks almost impossible.
Exactly.
So it's now coming back to the state of the people, that how bad is it for them?
Yeah.
If we look at it from there and then cut the kingpins, galamsey might actually stop. But here we are.
And you see, sometimes you ask yourself, why do people stoop low for these kingpins that always they get them arrested, but these kingpins get pay them?
Because there are more people suffering, more people are hungry.
Yes. So sometimes, in as much as it is illegal, when you tend to listen to some of these people, imagine you working for a whole month and receiving 1,000 or 1,500 at the end of the month.
When your transportation
is more than that, accommodation.
What would the 300 do for you?
So, I mean, it's high time they look at those things because the fight against galamsey, I mean, we should be able to end galamsey this year. And so other alternatives should be looked at.
All right. Anyway, moving to the big issue at hand. Now, this is the Energy Minister has held urgent briefings on developments in electricity distributions. And so the summary here is that the Energy and Green Transition Minister, John Jinapor, held a major briefing yesterday, Monday, that is April 27, on recent developments in electricity distribution. Now, this was disclosed by the government's communications minister, Felix Kwachi Ofosu, on his Facebook page. And the announcements came just hours after the CEO of the Ghana Grid Company was asked to step down pending, was asked to step aside pending investigations into a fire incident at the Akosombo Power Control Center. Now, we have a video on that, so let's take a look quickly.
I address you today first on what happened to Ghana's biggest generation plant, the Akosombo plant. An unexpected and significant incident that has greatly and significantly disrupted power evacuation across the country. Fellow citizens, this incident represents one of the most serious and unprecedented disruptions ever experienced in Ghana's power sector. And in the energy sector, Akosombo used to serve as a balance of load. And so hitherto, all of us even believe that once you lose Akosombo, then you lose the entire nation. As unfortunate as it is, despite the loss of Akosombo, all the other plants have been running. But it leaves a major deficit. The fire incident severely damaged the control room responsible for power evacuation. Because when they generate the power from the thermal plant, from the hydro plant, it has to go to the control room first. Then the control room takes the power through the switchyard and distributes it. And so when you lose the control room, it means that on the spur of the moment, you cannot evacuate any power. I address you today first.
Right, so that was the Minister for Green Transition and Energy, John Jinapor, addressing us at the... I keep forgetting the full term. What's the term for the... Oh, help me, please.
Is it accountability?
Yes, Government Accountability Series. How did I just get brain freeze? I'm so sorry about that. Yes, government accountability series talking about the fire and how badly it could affect the nation. And we're also getting reports that people are going through severe doom. So we are trying not to, name it as doom. So, but there's a lot going on. Power outages. And this also comes right after the fact that the president also mentioned that transformers are also being changed and replaced and all of that. So it's causing a lot of discomfort for people. And then we're also hearing that there's some, I don't want to use the word politics, but the CEO of the Ghana Grid Company has also been asked to step aside so that they can do the investigations in a manner that will not be prejudiced or skewed towards one direction. And he was also not particularly happy about that, but it seems the people, the powers that be, or the people at the helm of affairs will take the decisions that they deem best for some of these things. So, Peter, I know you have a lot to share.
Let me go before Evelyn, because this is a sad situation. I think 2 weeks ago we sat here, we talked about the same issue, about the government trying to stabilize the energy sector, the electricity sector, and that some amount of meters have been procured, and that exercise is ongoing. And the unfortunate incident is what happened over the weekend, where parts of the Akosomo substation got burnt. Now, I've heard a lot of commentary, people saying that this government actually wants to attribute the consistent or frequent power outages to the substation that got burnt recently, of which, of course, from where I sit and from report and all indications, it's not true. Before that incident, some people in various parts of the country were experiencing that power outage. And so I think it's high time Ghanaians get to understand that this is an exercise ongoing, because I remember vividly that I made mention of the fact that some of these transformers can date as far as back to the 80s, and they've not been changed. And so there's overload, and the pressure, the demand on it is so high. And that is the main reason why the government is saying that it's embarking on that exercise. Now, to the fact that a substation at Akosomo was actually burnt. Before I come to the issue about this whole power outages, I just want to dwell on to the fire incident. Reports from the Ghana National Fire Service states that there was no, the place was not accessible to get to the seat of the fire. It was a problem. And that, kind of bring out so many questions, so many questions. How can such a substation be built without, accessibility, a whole infrastructure for?
So my question then is, what made it inaccessible? Were there so many buildings encroaching, or the place was just, congested, full of a lot of equipment?
That is what we are supposed to find out, and I'm super excited that the minister has actually appointed a 7-member committee to investigate the cause of this fire outbreak. But it still doesn't solve the issue about negligence that is causing our economy, that is causing the ordinary Ghanaian today. Because whether we like it or yes, that incident has also added up to the issue we are facing already. Right. So if at first it was just 2 hours or 1 hour power outage, currently it is triple or more than that. Myself, as I'm speaking, for the past 3 days, I don't have lights for the past 3 days. And so my issue is for the fact that the Ghana National Fire Service they were able to respond, they got there in time, but due to inaccessible terrain, they were not able to quench the fire before time could pass. And the fact that they had to use about 64 or 61 National Fire Service personnel to manually quench the fire. That is a problem. It means that they've breached some of the standards. So under the fire precaution regulation, that is the premises 2003 LI 1724, any facility, especially high-risk industrial site, is legally required to provide adequate means of escape and access for fighting equipment. And so, like I said, if a fire tender from the Ghana National Fire Service could not reach the seat of the fire due to inaccessible terrain, or limited entry, then it suggests failure in the initial planning site or lack of maintenance on dedicated fire access. And they need to answer questions. Not only does it breach this law, Section 4 of the Ghana National Fire Service Act 1997, Act 537, mandates the Ghana National Fire Service must provide technical advice on building plans and structural layout to facilitate escape from fire, rescue operations, and fire management. Like I stated, 64 personnel had to manually combat the fire because their equipment was blocked. And that indicates that there was negligence somewhere. Either the Ghana National Fire Service refused to give that advice, or they didn't vet the facility, the plan before whatever is supposed to happen there takes place, or there's been lack of maintenance. And so, I mean, I expect the 7-member, committee to come out to answer these questions, not to tell us the fire and this happened. No, we need.
I think it's the latter, because I think when we were talking about even the Kaswa demolitions, I think Beverly mentioned that there was a whole transformer in somebody's shop or something, or it was rather a traffic light. Then I think it was a video I saw where apparently people had built or constructed their structures around a transformer or something of the sort.
Oh, this is if you go to people's home, they even have a whole transformer in their
sometimes
compound.
the light pole. Yes. So it could be that at the time of this construction of the power station, everything was set in place, but over the years, so yes, it could be the negligence that people were no longer being, reprimanded or cautioned not to go near the sites. Or maybe the place was not sealed off properly, or it was. And knowing human beings, they would any little space they are given, they would want to, break the boundary a bit. So maybe it could be that these people over time started encroaching, and then the place became inaccessible.
I'll beg to differ, because this shouldn't be an excuse. What happens to maintenance culture? This is a state structure, a state facility. We are told that due to that incident, we lost about 1,000 megawatts of power. And look at what it has cost. And so this is pure negligence, and so people must answer questions. And we expect that 7-member committee, as usual, wouldn't come out to say blah blah. And then I expect that they answer questions like who approved the site layout that physically blocked emergency response equipment.
I don't know if you have videos of how the situation on ground, like when the Ghana Fire Service got there, like how the whole place was. Because it's like just a small, enclosed, space.
And that is not fine. We've been preaching. This is a state-owned. This is a state property.
So in this case, it's like from now, as this has happened, then the maintenance and enforcing of stringent rules would have to be amped up a bit, because within a few years to come, it might happen again where the place will be blocked again by whatever it is that caused that blockage, because. Our people tend to think that, this is a one-off thing. It doesn't happen all the time, so it's fine. By the time it will happen, things would have changed. We make those kinds of excuses just to justify very bad behavior. So, as you're saying, if from now we don't enforce those things, then we will see this happening again. And again, the plan and all of that, I'm sure that when it was constructed at that time, there was clearance for those things, because when we look at some of these things that are in place that we are still relying on, this is independence era, infrastructure that was placed here. We've had a minimal amount of improvements upon them, but considering even maybe in the neighborhood it was in, or in the community, what if the population at the time was not even as much? But over the years, it's been more than 50 years. Now the people are way more, and space or something is an issue, and then they've been allowed to just do whatever they want. So what if even at this point it was somebody's structure that was right in front of the place, or 3 different structures that it was in the middle of or something? This is all speculation, though.
I think it all boils down to this lack of maintenance culture we've been talking about for so many years. Like we Ghanaians, we have the attitude. Let me put it that we have the attitude of when you get something, abandoning everything. Oh, where I abandon that kind of that kind of character. So it ends up becoming a problem when there's a small issue.
Yeah.
And that is why I think we should tackle it. And we are just hoping that is what. I'm not predicting that is the problem, but at the end of the investigation, we'll get to know what actually transpired.
But if that should be the problem, then it means that a whole lot of people must go home. Because if that should be the problem, then those in power, those authorities there do not actually know what they are doing. It means that they should go home. What happens to, fire safety audits and all that? What happens? Because Ghana National Fire Service, we've had so many conversations with them, even on this show, and their advice and whatever. And then for a state property, and you tell me this is it, I'm just hoping that, the outcome of the investigation will be something tangible. We don't want to hear that minor. We need answers to, serious questions. Because it has caused a whole lot of economic problems right now. Because a whole lot of people are talking. People are in darkness as we speak.
Exactly. Because if you tell us that we are maintaining or we are restructuring things, we are resetting things, and then this issue is causing like ×2 of the trouble we already face, and then
it becomes a problem.
So I just even remembered that I don't know if it was a video or something I actually saw, but it was a transformer, and it was somewhere almost like in the bush. And then you know how some of the plants are climbing plants and creeping plants all over the transformer. So it's like, is it that, like you're saying, you mentioned that, is it that they didn't even install these things in the right way? They just did it anyhow? Because that could also pose a hazard. Now, in some places where they are doing the transformers in a better way, or even bringing new transformers into certain neighborhoods, you realize that they are usually sealed off. There is some sort of, it's all, I don't want to say beautified, but it's been set up in a way that, it's easy for the technicians to access, but it's no longer like just a transformer standing there where kids can run to go and play. They fence it off, they put the hazard warning signs and all of that there. So if we are having, these kinds of transformers or power stations like that, just open, abandoned, and, freely accessible to people, what does that say about the ECG and even the higher authorities?
So apart from the fact that they are trying to retool, do everything in the electricity sectors, these are some of the things that they seek to address, that they have to position, transformers, like you rightly said, at the right places and do the necessary things. So I think this is a good exercise. So yesterday, during the accountability series, the minister made mention of a whole lot places that they've done that exercise and places that they are yet to go. So I think in general, once they are done with this exercise, some of these things will be addressed. And then when you made mention of like places that are no-go areas, it brings my mind to a place at Santa Maria.
Okay.
See, there's an inscription that I've forgotten, a danger something, but there's a woman who sells under this. So I get there.
A transformer?
Yes, a transformer. I get there and I just looked at this. I look at this woman. I ask myself, does she love her life? There's that inscription there. That is where you want to sell. So at the end of the day, we, the ordinary Ghanaians, we the citizens, we are a part of our problems. And when we create these problems and it becomes so big, then we tend to blame the government of the day. But we are also a part of some of the problems we are facing in the electricity sector. Some will tap electricity illegally and do a whole lot. When it backfires, we then pour our anger to the government. Yes, we voted people into power to actually solve some of these problems. But we should also check our activities, as Ghanaians going forward.
Even mentioning the government, something just came into my mind. What was the previous government or administration doing? What was the previous government doing that this particular government is not doing to give us light?
So
I wanted to come to this question. What are they doing to keep our lights on? That's the question that keep coming to mind.
And so without any record or without, thinking deep and without trying to speak for the ministry, I would say that from what they've started, they are embarking on an exercise to ensure that they stabilize the electricity sector. Right now, that is why they are changing transformers. This is some of the transformers.
Not to cut you,
yes,
but it's not even about our lights going off again. People's businesses are running off. Just like 2 days ago, was it on Sunday? I was even talking about businesses, especially like the cold stores and everything. So a nurse, I walked into a salon and the nurse was like, "Oh, even in our hospital, we don't have light. What happened to the technologies that uses electricity, to keep people alive? What happens to..." This is life and death matter. People's life depends on this. You get it?
So government is saying that it is going to last for a short period.
Yes.
And like we stated, every development comes with pain. And we are told that this is just for a while. And after some time, we are going to enjoy stable electricity.
Well, Ghanaians are crying. Let me speak for Ghanaians this morning. Ghanaians are crying. They are tired of the explanations. We want the way forward. What is going to keep our lights, not even to a particular period of time, but as time goes on, and the more years to come, like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, even 10 years to come.
But when where it becomes alarming is when there's, people talk without action, but at least we are seeing something. Something is currently ongoing, and so we are.
There's something is slow. There's something is slow.
All right.
It's progress, not perfection. Anyway, this brings us to the end of the online and print review. Thank you so much for joining me here. Up next is the lifestyle segment. As I mentioned earlier, they're going to be talking about the art of welding. So if you're looking to learn a trade, another source of income that is legal, please do call a friend, text a friend, and join in the conversation on the lifestyle segment that is up next. Do stay tuned.
morning to you, our cherished viewer. This is Lifestyle on the Koko Morning Show. My name is Annabelle Bevin Ajabia. Today we are having a very important conversation, and when you walk past some of the guys every day, we see sparks of fire flying, noise everywhere. We call them artisans, but honestly, these are the people literally like holding our houses, our cars together. We've been told for many years that if you don't sit in an office, you have failed. But today, we want to show you why these people, with a welding torch might actually be the smartest and the wealthiest people on planet. We are talking about the iron doctors of Ghana. You heard me right. We're talking about the iron doctors of Ghana. So this morning, we are talking to two seasoned people in this particular field to help us understand what goes into the act of welding. So don't go anywhere. Maybe you might be somebody, planning to go into the welding field. But so this particular conversation is for you. This morning we are talking to Mr. Kojo Danso, who is a mechanical engineer, who's a mechanical engineering practitioner. Also, we are talking to Mr. Obed Asamoah Waten, who is a manager of who's the manager of modern fabrication. Yeah, gentlemen, you're welcome to our studios.
Thank you, Romy.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right. Good. So I would like to start with Mr. Danso. Mr. Danso, can you please introduce yourself to our viewers?
Okay, I am Kojo Danso, a welder and a fabricator, and also a mechanical engineering practitioner. So I work with modern fabrication, and at modern fabrication, what we are into is full-time welding fabrication.
Right. Thank you very much. So, Mr. Danso, when we hear about welding, we've heard for so many years, we've heard about artisans who are, welders as well. When we talk about welding, is it about bringing two metals together? Is it only that we know, or there's more to it?
Okay, so when we talk about welding, it's simply joining two metals together with the application of heat. But it doesn't only end there. We live with it, or we rely on them. Looking at our gates in front of our house, the burglar proofing, even the containers that we see outside that our mothers are sitting in to carry out their normal trade.
Right.
All of these things were being welded. So welding itself is not only a skill, it's not only a job, it's about creativity. So a whole lot goes into it.
So we mostly see the overalls, like when we talk about water, automatically somebody say, oh, there's somebody in maybe a blue, or ash overall sitting at the roadside. That's what comes into our mind. And they'll say, oh, hard labor. Hard labor. What's one thing? What's one thing about your work that you think people don't know about?
Okay, so when it comes to welding, most people think it's hard labor, just as you said.
Right.
But being able to learn something on your own, welding is a trade. It gives you financial freedom.
Right.
When you take it the professional way, it gives you the financial freedom.
We'll come to the financial aspect, Mr. Watson will take us through. But then, what's so important? Okay, like what's important is welding in our everyday life. Let me put it that way.
Okay, so when it comes to welding, normally we think or we see metal to be the hardest thing. Like when it comes to breaking through.
Okay.
Metal is one of the difficult things to break. So that's why you will see a very beautiful house, but yet still, we will do burglar proof so that it will be hard for thieves to be able to penetrate through. When you go to, let's say, comparing wood and metal, the rate at which wood would deplete is much higher than that of metal.
Right.
And with the welding process, it gives a strongest bonding. So when you weld, you know that you have a solid joint that will be very hard for it to break.
Interesting. let's come to the money aspect. So, can welding make somebody rich in Ghana? What's your thought?
Okay, so first of all, I would like to take it from the very first question that you asked, Mr. Danso, about the importance of welding in our everyday life. So I would want to say that welding is foundational to our daily life. Let's imagine we live in a country that there are no gates to our homes. When we were coming, I saw the billboards and I was appreciating the welding job very much because in our daily life, from the gates that protect our homes, the roofing, the cars that we even sit in to go about our daily lives, these are all brought together by metalworks and welding. So we can't do away with metalworks in our daily life. And for that matter, we can't build a nation without metalworks or welding. So to come to the question you just asked about the financial aspect, yes, usually when people are looking at learning a skill, the most important thing they consider as well is the financial aspect. And I would want to say that, yes, indeed, welding is profitable in the sense that with basic tools and materials, you could bring together certain things. You can make certain things like gates, like stair rails, like fences, and you could earn handsome money or income from that with just the basic tools and the skills that you've acquired.
So what are some of the welding jobs that fetches the money?
So being a welder itself is a profession on its own. So it's not necessarily welding job. Okay, are you referring to the products, the outcomes?
You see, welding, we have like different, maybe from fabricating the gates, or maybe, I don't know. You know the terms. You are the expert here. So you will help me. You will help me today. You are saying I should help you. You are going to help me today.
So before you see a finished product, for you to admire how creative it is, it goes through a lot of process. It starts from imagination, from imagination to putting it into a work. So most of the time, that's why I find it really very offending when people try to discourage and not respect the craft, because there is so much that goes into it. From artistry, because sometimes they put together what they plan to do, they have to draw it on a paper first before they start fabricating. From fabrication to welding itself, from welding to painting, before you see the finished product for you to admire the work and appreciate it. It goes through a lot of work. And these people are not people that you say they are damp or they are failed in life, like people usually say when they see their working gears, their dirty clothes. They're like, this is not really a kind of job that I would want for myself, or a kind of job that you can earn something from. There is indeed money in it, and there's a lot of creativity and intelligence that goes into it. So that is a misconception about the craft or the skill.
All right, thank you very much. Let's come back to Mr. Danso. So, Mr. Danso, how long have you been doing welding?
Okay, so this is my 7th year.
Wow, interesting.
I went through the apprenticeship stage, now into the mastery stage as well.
Nice one. So you've been in your 7 years of practicing welding. What are some of the dangers that comes with the work?
Okay, so one thing that mostly we need to adhere is the safety protocols. Everything that we do, it has its own safety regulations. So once you neglect, you must pay the price. And in welding, safety is non-negotiable, because one error leads to the other. For instance, welding without your welding goggles or welding shield, automatically the arc race, which is very dangerous. When you are young, you won't see. But growing, the outcome will start showing itself. So you weld without wearing the required PPEs. Don't worry. After you are done, let's say sometimes you get the outcome. Karma will just send you right in the evening, where you are going to have an arc eye.
Arc eye, as in?
Okay, so when we say arc eye, normally what happens is you feel like we've put in sand in your eye.
Okay.
Then you see tears dropping. Nobody has beaten you, but
Like sand. That's like.
yeah, that's how you feel.
Okay. That's when the spark.
No, that's
touches.
when you weld without the goggles.
Okay.
Goggles,
Okay. Okay.
It directly affects your eye
Yeah.
because the arc race is sharp. So you feel heat on the eye. That is why most people doesn't want to venture into
Right.
welding. But there are ways to mitigate all of these things. So it's a requirement.
Right.
You can't do welding
Without
without the glasses.
But without the glasses, is there any other safety equipment that you use to protect yourself?
Okay, so you have to wear your coverall
Okay.
because of the sparks coming. Once it touches the skin, you have burns and other stuff.
Right.
So the fumes coming to is also hazardous to your health. So normally you have to wear your nose masks, wear your goggles, wear your coverall, wear your hand gloves. And when you are even cutting, you need your earplugs in order not to damage your ear sometime to come.
Right. I was coming to that because, mostly from welding, we hear a lot of, noise or let me see, sound. Does that affect, someone nearby, like, or someone passing, even with a spark? Because I remember growing up, if I see a welding shop, I would never like to go closer to the welder because I'm scared of the, the spark that comes with it.
Yeah. Okay, so one thing is, with the noise, when we are cutting, the machines coming into contact with the metal automatically is going to create a huge noise. And the hearing, let's say, your hearing ability, you the one that you are closer.
Right.
If you don't wear the required earplugs, it will affect you because when you are done cutting, and somebody closer to you is even calling you, sometimes you can't even hear a word.
They have to come closer.
The person must come closer. But when you wear the earplugs, after you are done and you remove it, you don't have any issue. And let's say the one passing by, so far as the person is not going to be there for long, dangers are not associated to that particular individual. But the one doing the job is the one who stands to suffer from the risks involved. And with the sparks, though sometimes you may be passing, sparks is sparks. Once it gets into contact, maybe you might get the burns as well.
Okay.
So it's on the norm, you are not supposed to be or go closer to where the activities are being carried on. That's why we normally caution the place we work.
Okay.
So I would want to take a bite on that. So I want to say that every profession comes with some level of risk.
Right.
And the key or the most important thing is that with the right, it's manageable with the right, following the right safety precaution. So welding is no different. It's just like any other job that you think that is better than welding. Every profession comes with some level of risk. Right. So that's why we make sure we don't compromise on safety. And there are some risks that comes with it, the eye pain and the burns and all that Mr. Danson mentioned earlier. But then the most important thing is that you don't compromise on your safety when it comes to work. And yes, skills without even safety is dangerous in the first place. So with following safety precautions and the right equipment and PPEs, I think you can work safely and confidently in welding.
Yeah. Have you ever had a situation where maybe, let's say, a beginner was trying to weld and had burns or?
Oh yes, I think I quite remember last month.
Okay.
We had a personnel in there. He was our driver, so he thought, as a driver there, I don't really need to follow all the safety precautions that we need to follow. But then, so yeah, I think we were carrying one metal and he didn't wear safety boots. So because of that, an unfortunate happened and it fell on his toes. So these are some of the safety precautions that needs to be followed at the rec site, even though I wouldn't say I'm the manager, so I'm going to the site without wearing these PPEs that needed to be worn at the site. Yeah.
So what was one of the rules, safety rules, that any welder or anyone into fabrication shouldn't compromise? Like as a must, you should.
I think the first one I'll talk about is the goggles.
Okay.
Like he said, if you don't wear it, you will feel the pain at night. Nobody will be beating you, but you will be crying. So yeah, the light that comes from the fire is quite hazardous to the eyes. So one thing a welder cannot compromise, one safety measure that a welder cannot compromise on it at all is the glasses or the goggles. Then followed by, let's say, your earplugs when you are cutting because of the noise from the cutting machine, as well as your safety boots and some gloves. You are good to go. You can work safely and confidently.
Right. So for young people, learning through the apprenticeship thing, what safety training should they receive like first? What's like the first training that you give to every young person that, comes into your institution?
Okay. So yeah, at Modern Fabrication, we are passionate about developing young talent and skills as well. So we don't just have people as apprentices. We do take people from former institutions as well. So one thing that those with the former institutions or those coming to intern or do attachments with us, usually they have the theory from the schools that they are coming from already. But then with those that goes through the regular training, like they come to the shop with their parents for apprenticeship. With those people, they usually don't have the theory aspect of it. So we have to take them through the theory aspect before they get to the field and do this manual or the practical aspect of it as well.
So what's that, like the question I asked, like what's the first training you put them to? Especially for somebody who hasn't gone to school before, like the traditional way, let me say it that way.
Yes, so like I mentioned, the training, the theory part, you first go to, the first process is the theory part.
Okay.
And this is done pragmatically in the sense that it depends on what you are bringing. For example, if you come and you don't really understand English well, we have to make sure you get all these safety precautions and all the theory aspects in the language that you understand best before we take you through the practical aspect of it.
Right. So let me come to Mr. Danso. Mr. Danso, what's the weirdest thing you've ever welded? Like you saw two metals. You see welding is about creativity, okay? If you don't have that kind of creative mind, I'm not sure you can, venture into welding. That's
why I sometimes feel offended when people say welders is a kind of profession that is for those that are dumb. I mean, the creativity that goes into that, if you are not smart, you can't.
Yeah, that's very true.
Okay, so one of the weirdest things I've done my own.
Like you didn't know, but by the time you finish, you were like, I deal with the. You get it?
It was recently. I was just there. I was like, Ali, let me try something. Let me try something new that we haven't been doing. So I took 2 iron rods.
Okay.
Decided to draw something on the floor.
Ish.
It's like, this thing, will it be? What can I do with it? Because normally, because of sustainability, we don't want to waste the metals.
Right.
Because the same thing we call scraps, you can use it to do something meaningful and sell it.
The scraps we see, the people pick at various points.
Yeah.
So do they sell? That's the institution. But do you get people bringing scraps to you? I want you to make this out of this. I want you to make this out of this.
Yeah, some people do bring maybe their metals pieces. Then they'll be like...
Are these the ones that are being shown?
Yeah.
Okay.
This one in particular is a guitar.
Okay.
This one
What's it made from?
This one was being made with an iron rod.
Okay.
And you see how we've molded it.
It's in the shape of a guitar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was quite, when we started, we weren't so sure we could do it. So after doing the whole thing, normally when you do the skeleton and the only thing that will make the thing attractive is when you apply the paint. So after applying the paint, we then realized that the thing was...
It has come back to life. It has come back. First it was dead and you...
That's why. So at modern fabrication...
That's actually
at modern fabrication, we tell you we give life
that's
to
actually
metal.
our slogan.
Oh,
modern
interesting.
fabrication, we give life to metal.
Give life to metal.
So at first you wouldn't get what they are trying to do, but when it's done,
you see
know
the
that you've
beauty
given life to
of
the
it.
metal. Yes.
Right. So I don't know. During the videos, I think they are showing some of the things. Like, what is this in particular?
Okay, this is a panel bridge.
Okay.
This one was being sent to Newmont recently.
Okay.
So this is the skeletal part. Instead of us to go and do the whole thing there, the only thing we did was to do prefabrication here. Then dismantle. When we get to the site, we then reassemble them. Then we passed the necessary cables that are supposed to pass on top of it. Yeah. So this was a cable bridge. This one too is a metal gate that was being made, I think, 4 years ago.
These designs are really, really nice. Honestly. So what's this?
This one is a lamp holder.
Okay.
So we decided to use the same iron rods, but this one is the 1/4 inch. We decided to create. So looking at how the thing is, it's more or less like I don't know how to put it, but a communication tower. How they are.
Yeah.
So that was the concept.
Yeah. This is very creative. Very, very creative.
So you can see a pipe in it. So that's where we pass the cables through.
Okay. So that they can fix the wires.
Yeah.
With light. Interesting. Hey, this is very nice. So very, very creative. So what are some of the... I was coming to ask you about women in welding. We grew up in a society where they make us feel like, the blue-collar jobs are not, very important. Our parents want to see us in offices, we are behind the laptop, But now, I saw the video where we saw some women, venture into welding. What do you think has changed over the few years? What has changed?
Okay, so first of all, I would want to say that this conception that there are certain jobs reserved for certain genders is outdated. We live in times that women are encouraged to enter into certain fields that initially we assume it was for men, and they are doing quite well in there. Now we talk about women in engineering, we talk about women in tech.
Right.
We can equally talk about women in welding. And yes, this is not the first time. We have women in welding, and they are actually doing well there. So that idea that welding is reserved or is just for men is outdated, and we need to correct that and let go of that conception, because women are actually doing well in this field as well. So I would want to say that yes, welding is not gender bound.
Right.
It's not for a particular gender. Everybody, once you have the passion and you want to pursue that, you can go ahead and do that. Forget about what society is talking about or saying about it.
Why do you think people should consider learning a trade as welding? Why do you think? Is it that it's because it's more profitable than even the white collar jobs?
Okay, so first of all, like I said earlier, welding is metalworks in general. It's a foundation of our daily life.
Right.
Because these b-balls that we see around are metalworks.
Right.
And they help in a way, as in it helps other businesses. These b-balls that we see around are advertising for other businesses. So it means it's the foundation of other businesses as well. So we can't do away with welding or metalworks. So yeah, once you have passion, you want to go into that, I would encourage you go into it. And you do well. It's also profitable. You can get some handsome amount of money in there, especially when you go on build skills, stay consistent, and you hop on big projects. You can get much more money in there.
Sure. I want to ask you one particular question that you've been running away from. But first of all, I would like to ask Mr. Damso. Mr. Damso, have you ever experienced any, hazard, like workplace hazard that will stay with you forever, like in the welding?
Okay. I think it was, I was drilling a metal.
Okay.
But I wasn't too focused. So the thing fell off, and I still have the scar here. So since then, I told myself, if you are learning the trade, you need to learn everything in it. You don't have to negotiate certain things because it's not negotiable.
Right.
You can be very skillful, talented, but if you don't adhere to the safety precautions, you might end the journey the time you don't want to end it. And since then, we've been moving along. And I remember one non-compliance I had on site. The whole project was halted.
Why?
Yes, because normally the big institutions that we work for, they don't joke with safety.
Okay.
So if you are supposed to do the right thing and you don't do, they are not going to tolerate anything of that sort. So I remember I was supposed to wear safety harness. I didn't wear the harness. But I was on top, 15 meters above ground level working. And on a norm, you are supposed, when you go beyond 1.6, you are supposed to wear a safety harness. And I didn't do. I was almost through with the project, but we had to halt the whole thing.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's hear from you your final, words. What would you say to someone out there who is probably unemployed after school? What's your advice for someone? We live in a society where people, like I said earlier, people look down on the blue-collar jobs. They prefer to sit in the offices, and if that is not coming, they are basically home. What's your advice for someone like that? Especially you being in the field for like over 7 years in welding or in a skilled job.
Okay, so going into welding, it's not a punishment. If we tell you to go and learn or indulge yourself in the blue-collar jobs, it's not a punishment.
Right.
Rather, we are teaching you something that will help you gain financial freedom.
Not just a sika womb.
Sika a womb. So far as you are creative, it doesn't mean all welders are welding gates. So I should also go and weld gates.
Right.
People are into sculpture. And sculpture work pays a lot.
They are selling. They are selling very fast. Because, people like the aesthetics. Let me use the word, the Gen Z word.
If I'm not mistaken, this is from welding.
Okay.
You can see how
so what
beautiful
type of
this
metal is this one? This particular one?
Okay, so this was being made from steel sheet.
Okay.
The thickness is quite small. This is 1.25.
Okay.
1.25 mm. And looking at this part, this is quarter-inch rod.
Okay.
Yeah. So once you are able to create this part, you are done.
All
So you see how beautiful this is. So someone can choose not to do the well-known projects like the gates, like the stairways, like the fences, and would want to venture into just the artistry part of it, that is making designs to sell. This is a product of welding. And you see how nice and beautiful it is. If the person is into just this, he can earn something manageable from it.
All right. Now, Mr. Damso, let's hear your final words as we wrap up the whole show, where we can find modern fabrication. You can put your contact across if anyone is watching and they would like to, come and learn from the institution as well. Yeah.
Okay, so Modern Fabrication is a metalwork company which is focused on fabrication and welding solutions. So from gates to fences to big projects like trusses and all that, we do all that. And sorry, we are located at Spinters. Coca-Cola runabout. But then when you want to come to the office or you want to come to the company, when you put Modern Fabrication in Google Map, it will lead you there. We train as well. We train through apprenticeship.
How much will I pay for a training? And how long does it take? How many years?
So approximately 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
But how much, I can't say that.
Okay. Oh, you can tell us. Okay. Probably there's somebody watching that.
Okay, let me come in.
Okay.
At Modern Fabrication, one thing that the CEO decided to do was anyone coming into apprenticeship is free. Free of charge. Anybody coming into apprenticeship is free of charge.
Free?
Yes, free. You don't pay.
This free, I'm saying. There's nothing like free food, though.
It's indeed free. Like I said earlier, we are focused on developing young talents in the field. So that's why we go about this policy that anybody coming to apprenticeship is free. Okay. We do also take interns and attachment from people in the former institution and want to do something for your practical reading.
All right. So
we only put you through probation to see how serious
you are. Sure.
So 3 months probation. If you are ready, you are good. The only thing you have to buy is your tape measure.
Okay.
Because the rest, the company will take care of it.
All right.
He decided to serve the community through that part.
All right.
Because he will tell you, wedi osono sere na akoko sere de.
Hey, this is your tree. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Boate and Mr. Danso. And this has been Lifestyle on the Koko Digest Morning Show. Thank you so much. And if you missed today's episode, you can follow us on Facebook, go to YouTube. You just have to type in Clock TV and search for the Koko Digest Morning Show. You get a glimpse of what's happened on the lifestyle today. And this is how we end the show. Next is Sports with Benedict Nketiah. Do make sure you are tuned in.
I heard today was your birthday.
We have some birthdays in here. This is from James to Tay Dadigo, and he's saying that looking back, I'm so grateful for everything you taught me. You placed Jesus Christ at the center of my life from the start. You instilled honesty, integrity, and a strong work ethic in me. You showed me the power of kindness and respect and the importance of standing up for my belief. This is coming from your son, Tay James Dadigo, to Mr. Edmond Tay. Happy birthday to you, Daddy. And this coming from okay, we don't have who is coming from, but this is to Mrs. Evelyn. And he's saying that glorious birthday wishes to you, wishing you all the best in life. May the good Lord continue to bless you with more success. This to you, Miss. And this is coming from Auntie Doris. He says that, happy birthday, Auntie Eunice. I thank God for your life and celebrate the grace of God upon you, your love for God and the tireless dedication to the advancement and service to mankind cannot be taken for granted or mistaken. Happy birthday to you, Auntie Eunice. And this has been Lifestyle on the Koko Digest Morning Show. Once again, my name is Honorable Bevin Ejibia. Thanks for staying with us. Next is the business segment. Make sure you are stay tuned.
Hello, lovely viewers. Good morning and welcome back to the Sports Update segment on your favorite morning show, the Koko Digest Morning Show. I am your host for today, Benedict Nketiah. And join me today. You know, here we bring you nothing but the best in the world of sports, and we are diving into all the action, both local and international. Whatever that has gone on, whatever that has happened during the weekend. And before I start with my stories for today, let me just go briefly on over the week, some of the games that happened. So yes, you know the La Liga title race is on. We have Real Madrid closely chasing Barcelona, FC Barcelona for the title race. Unfortunately, Madrid had to draw their game against Betis, and Barcelona had a very difficult fixture against Getafe, one of the most dangerous home games they had to play this season. Fortunately or unfortunately for Real Madrid, Barcelona was able to play and win their game against Getafe, now extending their La Liga space. That is the points between Barcelona and Madrid being 11 points now. Now let's move on to the English Premier League. That is the EPL. At the moment, as it stands, Arsenal FC is in the lead. Arsenal FC is leading the table points, closely followed by Manchester City, who has a game in hand. As fans can see today, I'm wearing Manchester United jersey. That is because I'm celebrating them today. It hasn't been an easy journey for Manchester United so far. Yesterday, they played their outstanding game, which they won by 2-1, which was quite an interesting one, a game against Brentford, and Manchester United was able to win 2-1, and we want to congratulate them, and myself, I want to celebrate them for what they are doing. It hasn't been easy so far for them. Michael Carrick is actually doing a good job, and I hope that they are able to win the rest of their games, and then, of course, qualify for Europe. Now, let's just move on straight to our stories for today. Our first story for today is a local story. Is the Koko Salvation Army Primary School crowned 2016-2026 Milo under 13 champions. Yes, so sorry for the typo. It's 2026 Milo under 13 champions. So yes, over the week, that was last week, we announced that there's going to be a local competition. That is the Milo under 13 2026 Milo competition that is going to be organized for the under 13 championships for primary schools and all that. So yes, one of the leading teams schools that played was the Koko Junior High School, which competed against Kwabenya Atomic MA. And then that was the final game that was played, but the game was dominated by the Koko Base School, that's the Salvation Army Primary School, and they won by 2-0. This final was played on Saturday, 25th of April. Yes, so it was actually an interesting one. I had a chance to witness some of the games, and you realize that in Ghana we have the talent, we have the men. These youngsters, their mentality, their game of play and their action, what they do with their ball, their calculation and all that was actually spot on. And if they're able to get very good coaches to scout and then train these young boys, we'll have very good players in the next 5 years, next 10 years to come. Congratulations to Koko, the Koko Base School, that is the Salvation Army. We had games, between other schools, but then again, like I said, the final was just between Koko and then the Eastern Region, Kwabenya Atomic MA School. Now, our next story for today. That is FC Ashanti Gold 04 seal Ghana Premier League promotion with an emphatic win over Sky FC. So we had a competition between Ashanti Gold 04, they won their competition to qualify for to be promoted to the Premier League out of the Zone 2. Yes, so the competition was actually quite keen. Fortunately, based on the good plays of Ashanti Gold, which we've witnessed Ashanti Gold in the Premier League before. Unfortunately, they had to go back to Zone 2 to go and prepare themselves because they were relegated. Now they've qualified back into the league, and then they were guided by the former Ashanti Kotoko coach. That's Karim Zito, the coach that was not doing so well with Ashanti Kotoko a few months ago. Had to resign with from Kotoko team and move back to Ash Gold to go and help them qualify for the Premier League now. They won by 4 goals to 1 over Sky FC, and then they have three more outstanding games to play, still in the zone 2. But I mean, based on calculations and based on what is happening, the team has already, qualified, and then we want to congratulate them and see them. Hope that they will do better. They will do better this time around, without being relegated to the zone 2. And all that. And now our final story for today. Our final story for today still is about the World Cup. Still in preparation towards the World Cup, and then this is about players who have been injured towards the World Cup. And one of the current players that has been injured is Xavi Simons, to miss rest of season and then World Cup. There's a young star, 23 years of age, who plays for Tottenham. He used to play with Ajax. He started off from Barcelona, the youngsters in Barcelona. He was a youngster in Barcelona, and then he moved on to Ajax to go and play with Ajax, and then he signed a contract to be transferred to Tottenham. Unfortunately, he had to fall to the ground over an injury, a collision he had with Hugo Bueno. That was like their game against Wolves over the weekend. Unfortunately, he had to he has an injury on his knee as an ACL, a very excruciating injury that brings careers to an end if care is not taken. He'll be gone for about 6 to 7 months because of this injury. That is an anterior cruciate ligament, ACL. That is to his right knee, and it's quite unfortunate that we'll miss Xavi Simons for the World Cup. Amongst other players that they've gone on injury, we have some other players. I would just like to mention their names. We had Lamine Yamal, who also went on an injury during their game over the week. Fortunately, Lamine Yamal's injury will just rule him out for the season, but then he'll be ready for the World Cup that will be played soon. Kylian Mbappe too had an injury where people were anticipating that he'll miss out in the World Cup. Fortunately, it's just for a few weeks he'll be back onto the field. We have Hugo Ekitike. I spoke about Hugo Ekitike over here. We have Eder Militao, who is undergoing surgery. He will miss out in the World Cup. Ada Güler, he'll be back for the World Cup. Thibaut Courtois, he's injured, but hopefully he'll be back for the World Cup. Rafinha is hoping to receive green light to be back for the World Cup. We have Cole Palmer, who's also undergoing rehabilitation, undergoing treatment. Hopefully he'll be back for the World Cup. Cristian Romero, he also plays for the Argentine national team. He also on an injury. Hopefully he'll be back for the World Cup. We have Pedro, who's also gone for some months. We have Pablo Barros, Kai Havertz, Mohamed Salah, Eberechi, who plays for Arsenal, Eberechi Eze, Bukayo Saka. Hopefully he'll be back for their next games. We have Estevao, who's also gone on injury, Xavi Simons, like I mentioned earlier, Koko, and then Dani Carvajal. So yes, we have a list of injured players that this is for the Spanish team especially. Have about 40 players being missing out in the World Cup. That is if they will be called. So it's actually quite sad that players are going on injury when we are getting to the latter stage of the competition, where right after this the league games will be qualifying, will be going into the World Cup. We hope for the best for them. We wish them a speedy recovery, especially Xavi Simons and then his colleagues out there. Hopefully they'll be back and they'll be able to continue with their performances and entertain us in the world of sports. And this is for the Sports Update segment. My name is Benedict Nketia. Thank you for sticking and staying with us. Next is the business segment with my colleague
You're welcome back. You're still watching the Koko Digest Morning Show right here on Clock TV. Remember that we're also live on Go TV channel 184. We're also streaming live on our various social media platforms, YouTube and on Facebook. So you can engage us with your thoughts, your questions, and I'll gladly read them aloud. Good morning to you. This is the Business Update segment. I am your host, Peter Nsia. Now, on Friday, the 24th of April 2026, our nation made history at the Labadi Beach Hotel, where the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, launched a 10-year journey to turn Ghana into AI, Africa's AI hub. But as we stand at this digital crossroads, the big question on everyone's lips is our topic for discussion today. And today we are discussing Ghana 2035, the AI revolution. Is it an economic engine or job killer? Ghana 2035, the AI revolution, economic engine or job killer. Now, the national AI strategy was built around 8 pillars. Let's take a look at that 8 pillars. And then when we are done, we'll take a look at the monetary aspect of it, the investment that has been pushed into this 10-year AI strategy. And afterwards, we'll be having some discussion with our guests right here. Please project the pillar 1 for the strategies. Pillar 1. And yes, so the pillar 1, the first step is the AI education and training, updating school curricula from primary level to the tertiary level. And then let's take a look at the pillar 2 as well. The pillar 2 is the youth empowerment, training 1 million youth and 10,000 AI researchers by 2030. Of course, the 1 million youth, the 1 million coders program actually started last year, and I think it's still ongoing. And then this strategy seeks to train 10,000 AI researchers by 2030. Please move on to the third pillar. And the third pillar is digital infrastructure. That is building innovation hubs outside Accra and world-class compute clusters. And let's move on to the fourth pillar. And this has been arranged in the chronological order. Without 1, you cannot achieve 2. And then without 2, you cannot achieve 3. The fourth one is data access and governance. The creation of 1 trillion token of Ghanaian data, including local languages like P-GAM. And this expert would explain to us what it means. Let's move to the fifth pillar. And the fifth pillar is robust AI community, connecting hubs and research labs across the country. And the sixth pillar is sector adoption, direct AI application in agriculture, health, security, and the likes. And the seventh one is the applied AI research. So that is developing homegrown solutions rather than just importing the Western tech. So this program aims for Ghana to own its own, research and what have you. Let's move on to the last one, which is the 8th one. That is the public sector integration, launching Ghana Chat, a sovereign AI to make government services faster and more efficient. Now, this was not done. There has been some, investment and some expected returns as well. Let's take a look at the investment, how much government is investing to ensure that this AI strategy comes to life, and how much government is expected to make at the end of 2035. And there you can see on your screen, AI is expected to contribute 500 billion Ghana cedis to our GDP by 2035. That's by the end of 10 years. And this one has been broken down to stages. Let's move on to the investment aspect of how much government is investing. Okay, so the initial fund for this AI is 5 billion Ghana cedis. That's the initial fund. And then this 5 billion Ghana cedis, after 2030, it is expected to scale up to 15 billion Ghana cedis. And so that's in total, between 2025 to 2030, government is expected to make that 5 billion Ghana cedis as return on investment. Let's move on to the next one. And yes, so 15 billion by 2035. That's what I've explained earlier. Let's move on to the next one. Yes, so the purpose is to just support startup, innovation, AI-driven solutions. Let's take a look at the investment itself proper. The 250 million Ghana cedis that government, yes, that is $250 million. Cabinet actually approved this amount, $250 million. That's National AI Computing Center, approved by Cabinet. And so this is the amount of money, government has invested. And, the AI fund, the initial amount is 5 billion, and how much government seeks to, get at the end of the 10-year period. Now, let's take a look at a video from one of the minds behind this AI strategy, Professor Jerry John Ponyo. Let's take a look at the video. When we come back, I'll introduce my guest and we start the conversation.
Many of our communities still face limited access to reliable power, high-speed internet, and cloud infrastructure. We also recognize a lack of coordination among the actors in our tech space, as well as an understandable public skepticism and fear regarding what AI means for the future of traditional jobs. In fact, we had many people asking us the question, is AI going to take away my job? Yet, the opportunities ahead of us are immense. We are perfectly positioned to become the regional AI hub for West Africa. By adopting AI, we can drastically boost inclusion and efficiency in vital sectors like agriculture, healthcare, transportation, fisheries, and the likes. We can expand natural language processing to protect and digitize our local Ghanaian languages. And most importantly, we can build thousands of new high-value jobs across the AI value chain. But we must be vigilant about the threats we must guard against. We face the very real threat of brain drain as our brightest local tech talent seek opportunities abroad. We risk widening the inequality gap if we do not enforce strong data privacy laws, or if automation disrupts traditional jobs without robust reskilling program for our people.
Yes, before I introduce my guests, let's also take note that unemployment rate as we speak is very high. According to the Ghana Statistical Service, the youth unemployment is hovering around 32.805%. And so this is where the fear lies. People are of the view that is this going to take away their job or going to create more job? You will find out very soon. And so joining me for this very discussion, Professor Joseph Entwi Befi, who is an associate professor and HOD for Economics Department at the University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development. We'll also be speaking to Madame Odamia Amoako. Let me read a bit of a profile. Madame Odamia Amoako is a digital transformation strategist, author, and youth advocate shaping conversations around branding, digital communication, and purposeful career growth across Africa. She serves as digital accountant manager at Result Advertising, where she supports client strategy, campaign development, and integrated communications across industries. She is the founder of Generation Shift Africa and leads World Scope Consult, a communications firm focused on personal branding, career positioning, and book publishing. Through her work, Odamia has trained over 10,000 young people across Africa in digital skills and professional development, and has managed the digital presence of more than 30 organizations. She is the author of 5 books on personal development and growth, equipping young professionals with practical tools of clarity, structure, and intentional progress. Odamia recently completed her LLB at Mount Christ University, where she previously served as SLC Vice President. She holds professional certification in digital finance from the Digital Frontiers Institute, South Africa. She is a certified digital marketer and has completed over 50 certification across leadership, strategy, and technology. Good morning, Madam Odamia. Good morning, Madam Odamia, and welcome to the Business Update segment on the Koko Digest Morning Show.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
All right. And so to start with the conversation, I would like to think, what is the current AI job market like and what are the opportunities out there?
Right. Thank you very much for the opportunity. So what I would want to start with is for us to understand that the strategy that has been laid down by Ghana Parliament and the Ministry of Communication is one that is kind. However, we are hoping that the execution would lead to ensuring the current economy is able to improve. Looking at job readiness and job experience and how AI contributes to the youth finding opportunities. I believe that the COVID-19 incident taught us a lot about the fact that the digital space has come, the internet is here with us, and when you do not decide to go with how technologies are going, you may be left behind. So we saw that when COVID happened, some countries had to shut down certain institutions and have some companies also had to begin getting people to work remotely, people working from home. And that's become one of the key drivers in terms of why technology is important and why I mentioned at the beginning that in terms of job opportunities, AI has a wide range of places where people can venture in. There is the opportunity for people to make good use of AI with writing, with designing, with coding, with everything that has to do with things. AI has come to make that easier for us. However, the challenge that I have seen and sometimes I have conversations about is the fact that people think that AI is coming to take their job. But the point, AI is going to take the job of a person that doesn't know how to use AI. So if someone knows how to that, then it take your job, because there are certain things that AI might streamline in terms of your job that if you do not know how to make work easier for you. Some come in and let's say in the past we had walking to offices and you have the contest, write your name and all of that. Now they have to make that, right? If you're someone that still wants to do by the traditional way and take that and all that, then you may be left behind, right? And we understand, because I have had opportunities to train people across Africa, there is the conversation about people relocating because they've been trained, they've taken courses in certain tech skills that are not getting them opportunities here, right?
Yeah.
What we need to understand is that in spaces like agri, healthcare, education, advertising, marketing, in all of these spaces, AI is a tool in the hands of Daniel, right? So AI is not manipulating them, but it's serving as a point to help them make their work easier. So that's what I understand in terms of the art and how young people can make good use of it. And basically, can learn all of these things online. Currently, one of the AI platforms has introduced about 13 free online courses. You don't pay for, and once you that for you to understand how to use these platforms. And there are other and online platforms that have given free courses for AI, right? Make good use of these opportunities so that we can benefit from it as an African population at large.
Right. So from the technical standpoint, does Ghana currently have the data infrastructure and talent base needed to support national AI ecosystem, or we are investing ahead of our capacity?
So I actually saw a post on Facebook yesterday where asking that does Ghana have enough water to actually, so there's this point where the cloud systems that are used to use data sometimes get heated up, right? In the Western world, I think there was even a documentary about one of the tech companies having some out the old like they had kept it in so that it doesn't get overheated. So someone was just making that comment about relaunching an AI strategy and whether Ghana is ready for that. Especially as a law, a recent law graduate, I would want to take it from one point. The first is that yes, we are ready because we have the youth capacity to have that to study and negotiate what we are hoping to achieve with the AI strategy. I think in the beginning you talked about the breakdown of the strategy and what we are looking to achieve and the key areas which the strategy is implementing, right? But as Ghana, I believe that we have the capacity in terms of our population. However, in terms of infrastructure, it's something that I believe we need to beef up. Ghana currently, I think I read on the tech telecom reportage which was published in the first quarter, and it's mentioned that Ghana ranked 72nd globally, right? But we were sixth in Ghana in terms of the global AI index. So what that means is we've reached a certain point. I mean, Africa has over 50 countries, right? So if we rank sixth in terms of the AI index, that means that we've done a little bit of work, and that also exceeds over 110%, right? Because in Ghana we have more than 38 million people having mobile right? So which sets a thing for the government in terms of the AI-driven services that we are looking at, right?
Yeah.
And in terms of the strategy, we see that there's a 250 center which we are hoping to get to beat up the AI strategy we are looking at, right?
Yeah.
And that Ghana is large. We have a lot of languages in Ghana, for instance. And if we are able to execute this properly, it means that we as Ghanaians recognize on international platforms, which will make it easier for us to. I mean, in terms of our education, we have a certain gap in terms of people understanding or people to read and write English, right? But if we are able to have this set up very well, we would have our Ghanaian on the international and digital space, which would help us to build our culture, promote our culture even in a better space. Aside that, I think this would be my last point on the Ghanaian space. So we see that currently 4G penetrates like about 41% of the rural areas in Ghana and 88% in urban areas. So what that means is that when we plan to expand to 5G, solar powered centers of that, it will make it easier for us to benefit more from this system which we're going to have, right? So for me as a digital transformation strategist myself, I always look at these things in terms of whether AI can reach the farmer in my home region or the trader say, if we want to solve the rural connectivity gap, the AI will become an Accra privilege, right? It will become maybe a Kumasi. It will just be in the urban city, right? So we need to have that and that yes, we want to get sort of infrastructure to help us with the AI strategy in Ghana. We need to be intentional about making sure this is not just in Accra. This is areas that people have access to technological infrastructure. However, we need to make sure that it reaches other spaces, right? So for me, Ghana's technical challenge is not whether we understand AI or whether we are ready for it or whichever way we want to look at it from. But for me, I look at whether our power grid, our data centers, our local language data sets, our rural internet can keep up with the ambitions we have. Because strategy is good on paper, is good, but we have to make sure that it would match what happens on the ground.
Right, thank you very much for that point. But to my last question, would you say, taking a look at the time in 10 years, would you say 10 years is enough to actually train more, youth or more Ghanaians to better understand how AI works? Because when you take a look at our population, like you rightly said, most people are educated, but then when it comes to technology, IT, can say that about 30% of them do not actually know how IT works, the internet, and what have you. And so taking a look at the 10-year period, would you say that it is enough to train more people? And also, I would like to hear from you that you agree with the section of the people who are saying that AI will definitely take their job, even though you've stated that it is going to take, but it is going to create more. I just want emphasis that maybe it will take away their jobs for a short time, but then in the long term would create another job if they equip themselves with the growing trend.
Right. Okay. So I'll start with the first, which has to do with whether 10 years is enough for us to train Ghanaians in AI. So I would also say a yes and a no. Yes, if it's layered in a way that would help to train more Ghanaians, right, in the next 10 years. There's this study which I read stated that it aims to train 1 million youth and 10,000 AI teachers by 2035, right?
Yeah.
Through scaling and programs and incentives to ensure that people have opportunities to build their capacity in terms of. And I read online that currently over 100,000 applications have been processed through the 1 Million Coded Initiative, right? Which
Exactly.
means that we are working towards it. But the whole point of the conversation has to do with we ensuring that things are introduced in basic level and making sure that curriculum and tasks that are being assigned to people, we have these things incorporated in there, right? So it is very essential that we understand that yes, we can have opportunities, we can have by 2035, we'll be able to train a couple of people if we layer the trainings in a sense that we would be able to achieve that. However, becoming a full, if I want to look at the educational standpoint, right, becoming an AI engineer through a bachelor's degree would take you like 3 to 4 years, right? And then maybe a degree and some certification. So what that means is if the training timeline depends on what level Ghana is targeting, then indeed 10 years is actually sufficient, right? That depends on if we have time courses, for instance, some take about 1 month, 3 months. So if the it is sufficient if we that we can't achieve the one we are looking. But
right.
the key challenge is training the trained professionals in Ghana, right?
All right,
so
madam.
the point where we would shoot a lot of people,
Okay.
but we wouldn't to trained and individuals we have. So that's people that we need to get the like when you see in some of the Western countries, the Silicon Valley, we need to have things in Ghana so where we have places that don't just offer money. We don't want the youth employment programs where they will say we are giving this amount of money to people. Not necessarily that, but infrastructure to support.
All right. Thank you very much, Madam Odamia Mwakon, for your time this morning. We really appreciate it. And we are hoping that we will have you one day in our studio for a thorough discussion on this very subject. And Professor Befi is also on the line, but before we engage him, we have a video from the president during the lunch. He said something. Let's take a look at it, and after that, we'll engage Professor Befi.
Government AI will help streamline operations, improve responsiveness, and support evidence-based policy making. If we use it wisely, it will enable us to deliver public services that are faster, that are more transparent, more efficient, and more citizen-centered. Ghana is blessed with a youthful population that is energetic, innovative, and increasingly engaged with digital technologies. This demographic strength can be one of our greatest national advantages in the age of AI. But youthful potential must be matched by structured opportunity. And that is why education and the workforce development are among the core pillars of this strategy. We must equip our people not only to use AI tools, but also to build, govern, improve, and apply them to solve our national problems. This commitment is reflected in our 1 Million Coders program, which aims to equip young Ghanaians with digital and AI skills at scale. It will help build a robust national talent pipeline, stimulate innovation and entrepreneurship, and position Ghana competitively in the global digital space. The pilot phase of the 1 Million Coders program conducted last year enabled the ministry to assess readiness for nationwide rollout. The portal is now open and more than 100,000 applications have already been processed. Citizens can register for more than 15 courses across 10 disciplines at learning centers that are close to their homes. This year alone, the ministry aims to train at least 300,000 Ghanaians as the program continues to expand. These are more than just numbers. They represent opportunity, employability, and national preparedness.
Right, let's now engage Professor Joseph Entwibefi to look at the economic aspect of it. As I stated earlier, Professor Joseph Entwibefi is an associate professor and HOD for Economics Department at the University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development. Good morning, Prof, and welcome to the business of this segment of the Koko Digest Morning Show.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to your listeners.
First of all, I would like to say congratulations to you on your new promotion.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So I would like to take your initial reaction. $250 million investment and 500 billion expected, income to add up to GDP, Ghana's GDP. What is your initial reaction to this?
$250 million. I don't know where that money is going to come from. We tend to set overly ambitious targets. I don't know whether it is an external funding or GOG funding. If it is GOG funding, that's going to be a problem. The program will hit a rock. If it's external funding, then that is very good news. Government commitment to these projects or programs has always been a challenge. Remember 24 hours economy? Don't know where that thing has gotten to. The secretariat and everything, I don't know what's happening now. So for us, formulating policies and strategy is not a problem. The problem is the commitment and the resources to implement. We have seen so many programs, projects, policies that has failed. It's failed because of lack of funding. I hope that this one will not suffer the same fate. Because policy formulation in Ghana shouldn't be a problem. Go through our books, go through the internet. So many very good policies. Along the line, these policies fail because we put a political niche on it so that whichever political party comes, takes over, may not have the willingness to continue. And all the policies have failed. I hope that this one will not fail because we have no option than to join this AI evolution. If we lag behind, we will be lagging behind for a very long time. You remember, in Europe, when the Industrial Revolution started, Africa didn't take the opportunity. The Americans and the Europeans took opportunity and they ran ahead of us. So the Industrial Revolution brought a huge gap between Europe and Africa.
Right.
Now there is another evolution called knowledge evolution. Knowledge spillover evolution. This knowledge evolution has been generated by AI and all that talks about AI. If we don't catch up, if we don't try to catch up with the world and we decide to stay behind, we will stay behind for a very long time. So we have no option. It's like a father who has children in the house and has decided not to educate the children. Educating your children is not something that you have to be praised for, because you have no option but to educate your children. So yes, we have no option but to join the world through this AI information. If we don't, then we will suffer the consequence for a very long time.
And this brings me to my next question, and that is our topic. Do you see this as an economic engine, or
can you speak up a bit, or can the engineers help, because I'm finding it difficult to hear?
All right, is it okay now, Prof?
Yes, it's better.
Yes, so I was asking that, do you agree with the section of people who says that AI is actually coming to, take away the jobs of the ordinary Ghanaian, or you see this to be as an economic engine? Before you even answer, we are seeing, a high level of unemployment rate among the youth already, and then this AI, where do we draw the line?
There is something called creative destruction, and that is what knowledge economy does.
Okay.
Knowledge economy will destroy something and create new things for you. And that's what technology also does. It is going to, for want of a better word, destroy so many jobs. Those administrative work, even people at call centers. Very soon, if you work at a call center, your services may not be needed. Okay. All those jobs will suffer. Secretarial works, even at some level, accounting, you prepare just an ordinary account. I have a company, I don't have an accountant, but almost every month I'm able to prepare a profit and loss account, trial balance, just by very simple software. So some jobs, people are going to lose their jobs. But I tell you what, the opportunity that AI creates in terms of job creation is more than what people are going to lose.
Interesting.
Because we are talking about data analysts, we are talking about software developers, a wide range of industry. The only problem is that you need to be knowledgeable and skilled to be employed in that sector. That's the only problem. Apart from that, we shouldn't have a problem with job creation, because this AI can create a lot of jobs, more than what it can destroy. So if you are a secretary sitting somewhere, the earlier you get yourself with the needed skills to be able to integrate yourself in this evolution, the better. Because in as much as government don't have an option, you, the individual, you also don't have an option. You don't have an option. You need to get yourself trained in the skills that is needed in this 21st century. If you don't, then you'll be laid off. As I said, if I have somebody who prepares my account for me, now I'll sack the person because I don't need the person's services. Okay, but this same person can also be can train himself or herself in some other skills that is needed in the AI industry. Whether we like it or not, that's how individuals should approach this evolution. Because if you decide not to train yourself, and you think that government will have to create means for you to continue doing your old work, you are going to have huge issues. You'll be laid off, and there are opportunities, so many opportunities in the agricultural sector, in the educational sector, in the health sector, in knowledge translation, in fintech, financial technology tools, that an individual should quickly train himself to be part of this evolution, or else he'll be left behind.
All right, thank you very much, Prof. I've got a whole lot of questions for you, but time will not permit us. So I would like to take your final words to viewers. Hello, Prof.
Okay, so my final word quickly is that whether we like it or not, AI has come to stay. It is going beyond robots. we are talking about increased productivity, increased job creation, to some extent exporting the software services. Because you see, in Ghana or in Sub-Saharan Africa, or even in West Africa, we have a lot of languages.
Right.
There is a huge opportunity on the market to build language translation softwares. So that as I speak to you now, it goes through a language translation software. Somebody who doesn't understand English but can understand Ewe can still understand what I'm saying.
Right.
And there's a huge market for it. Even alone the the language translation software across Sub-Saharan Africa. Even in Ghana, how many languages do we have? Official language, about 39 or so.
Right.
Talk about Nigeria, talk about Togo. So even the language translation software is a huge industry on itself we can take advantage of. If you don't begin to learn, adjust your skills, and you sit unconcerned, you are going to be left behind. So the productivity AI tends to give us is more than what it is destroying. And I urge everyone and the government to hold on to this policy because, as I stated earlier on, we have no option than to join this revolution. If we don't, we'll be left behind for a long time.
All right. Thank you very much, Prof, for your time this morning. We really appreciate it. And this has been a conversation on Ghana 2035, the AI revolution, economic engine or job killer. And certainly from our two experts right here, it's definitely an economic engine, but not a job killer. Thank you very much for your time with us this morning. I'm Peter. And up next is the main segment with Yaira Awono. Please stay tuned.
Yeah, welcome back to the Koko Digest Morning Show. And if you're just tuning in, it's time for the main discussion. And as I mentioned earlier in the intro, we're going to be talking about medical security and also free primary health care if Ghana is ready to sustain such. And we have two guests here with us. We have the first one, who is Dr. Kwesi Elaj. He is the chairman of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, the Media and PR Media and Visibility Committee. Then also we have Dr. Rachel Enim. She's also a member of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana's PR Media Visibility Committee. So we're going to be interacting with them, and I'll urge you to send your questions to the WhatsApp number that will be displayed onto your screens, and also to the YouTube or Facebook live stream. Send your questions, send your comments, and let's get interactive here. So quickly moving into the conversation. Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope we're well.
Very well.
Thank you so much for joining us. So, right into the conversation, PSGH, Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, what is it about?
All right. So the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana is the umbrella association for all registered pharmacists in Ghana.
Okay.
So the main mandate of the PSGH is for professional development, and also it instills good ethical behaviors in pharmacies.
Right.
And also together with the Pharmacy Council, they regulate the practice of pharmacy in Ghana.
Okay. So as the chairman of the PR and Media Visibility Committee, it means you are the ones who tend to give us the necessary information from the society, right?
Mostly.
Right. So what does that entail usually?
Okay, so for PR and media visibility, our core mandate is what the current president, Dr. Paul Owusu-Donkor, names the Know Your Pharmacist.
Okay.
So the Know Your Pharmacist campaign is all about ensuring that the entire population gets to know who a pharmacist is, what a pharmacist does, and then creating that value or shared value with the pharmacist, so that we do not see the pharmacist as someone you give money to and take medication, but rather you see the pharmacist as someone who you would go to have medication discussions with, and be able to earn that value from them. That's how we are positioning.
Okay, so you've been around for a while, and I want to ask, how has your role in Ghana's healthcare evolved over the years?
Okay, so for pharmacists in general, they basically started as the dispensers. Then time as Gold Coast, we didn't have pharmacists. It was the colonial masters who were pharmacists. So we were basically under training and as dispensers at Kolebu. So there was a dispensing school where pharmacists came out as dispensers. And then over the years, somewhere 1935, 19th December to be precise, by that time we had trained pharmacists. So they came together and formed the society or the association, which is the PSGH. And as of that time, it was still the Pharmaceutical Society of Gold Coast. Post independence, the name changed to the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana. Over the years, we have been focusing on policy direction, the welfare of pharmacists, ensuring that every pharmacist practicing is in good standing, their well-being is being taken care of, their welfare is highly is of importance to the society, because if you, the pharmacist, you are not okay, then how do you send that value or that health value downstream? So basically, that is what PSG stands for. Be able to influence policy at the government level. So you would see that for all the important stakeholder engagements, PSGH and its other branches in terms of practice groups are ably represented. PSGH has community pharmacists being part of it, the hospital pharmacists being part of it, the academia and research pharmacists being part of it, industrial pharmacists being part of it, the regulatory and sales pharmacists also being part of it. So if you put all of them together, wherever they go, whatever policy that affects any of these industries, we are able to influence as such.
Okay, that was quite informative. I didn't know there were that many types of pharmacists.
Yeah, I always tell people we have consultant pharmacists, we have specialist pharmacists, so it's not every pharmacist you would see who even engages with medications. There are quite a number of specialties.
Okay, so what does it look like when PSGH, is is a stakeholder in some of these policy directions, what does it look like when you're consulted to influence some of the policy decisions regarding healthcare?
So sometimes, based on the prevalence of a condition, they're able to influence the policy to say that, oh, we need a lot of these medications in stock.
Right.
So they're able to contribute to the stocking of these medications so that primary health care, as has been established now, would be able to get to many people.
Okay, so has there been a situation, is there any specific time where you can pinpoint to being consulted on a particular policy relating to healthcare?
Yes, quite a number. Even for ones that we are not even consulted, we still make impact.
Okay.
For example, in the northern regions, currently we are having a project in maternal health, where PSGH is undertaking this research, putting in medications to see its effect. So we undertake some of these research activities at every point in time. The essential medicines list of the National Health Insurance and a lot of other medications, all these are things that PSGH influences or has a voice or a say in. So we are consulted and then we give feedback. When it comes to the health framework, the entire pharmaceutical framework, PSGH is always at the table to give their voice, to lend their voice, to ensure that the policies that are being enacted are followed. Because whatever you do, wherever medications go, pharmacists follow. So once the conversation is about pharmacists, it's about medications, then the pharmacists ought to be there. Even though we probably do not have it at the perfect balance, if you would say, but PSGH over the years has chalked that consistency when it comes to having policy directions.
All right. Okay. So it's also been reported that Africa imports close to 99% of its medicines and vaccines, and even the local drug manufacturing across the continent is also declining. And even this is because of some of the funding challenges, right? So what has PSGH done or been doing to push against this trend?
Okay. So first of all, a little correction. We don't import about 99.
Close. Well, I said close to yes. I don't
we
know.
do about 70, which
about,
is still poor. Yes. So, and what the PSGH is doing now is that it's supporting small-scale industries, yes, with fundings to be able to produce some of these essential medicines to help. Yes.
Okay. So in this case, aside the funding, do you have maybe some infrastructure or ingredients provided for these local manufacturers as well?
Okay. So just so that for the ingredients here is what we call the API, the active pharmaceutical ingredients specifically, So the current administration of PSGH, led by Dr. Paulo Sudonko, has instituted a few number of initiatives which are helping for all of us to understand some of these things. For example, this Know Your Pharmacist, as it may not even directly influence. The long short is that if we're able to understand the role of the pharmacist, we know that the pharmacist is able to make recommendations through which we'll be able to have care. Now, if that is the case, then when you come and the pharmacist recommends even a locally made medication, you would understand the position of the pharmacist and know that they care for your health and well-being. Indirectly, we are promoting the local manufacturing force. He has also supported with funds and grants, as Rachel was saying. The Ghana College of Pharmacists is also increasing enrollment, which the Pharmaceutical Society is also supporting, so that in the long term, we know that more people are going into this specialist area, that is the industrial pharmacy manufacturing. There is an association called PMAC. So these are pharmacists who are into manufacturing. So they also form that association, and we also still advocate through PSGH to ensure that these are there. So education-wise, we are investing in heavily to ensure that we are giving scholarships so that people who want to go into drug manufacturing, drug discovery, they are being led there. Prof. Himen and quite a number of other pharmacists are doing actively well by researching actively. They have patents. They are discovering new antibiotics a lot is happening in that space. And we are also trying to use this opportunity to urge the government to come more to our aid in that regard, so that there is more direct investment from government. We can do little, but we believe that if government channels its energy into education, into supporting API security, into even helping establish manufacturing firms locally, fully owned locally, not the ones we have currently. But if we're able to get that support from government to ensure that our local capacity is enhanced, we believe that these ones will go far. But PSGH, in a nutshell, is supporting across all spheres: education, policy direction, ensuring access to API, and capacity building.
All right. So with the API, is it sourced here in Ghana for the local manufacturers, or they tend to import the APIs here?
I don't know if
they
it was...
import most of them.
Okay.
Yes.
So is it that maybe in a few years to come we should expect that even our locally manufacturing or our local manufacturing institutions should be able to produce?
Yes, so that is the main goal.
Okay.
Yes, that in some years to come, the local manufacturers will be able to produce their own API, and we wouldn't have to import a lot into the country.
But do we have the resources and capacity for that?
Just to put this to perspective, as of now, we probably do not have much of the capacity. And for every medication you take, you would see the strength of the active ingredient written on it. But typically, it's bulkier, or it's even if it's liquid, it's more than whatever we have said is the active pharmaceutical ingredient. That's because we have other agents, bulking agents, sweeteners, stabilizers that we put in to make sure that the final product gets to you in its best form. For most of these inactive ingredients, like the cassava starch, like the sweeteners that
cassava was in my mind for some reason. I don't know why. I think they said we get some of our medicines from cassava or something.
Because of the starch.
Yes, so these are bulking agents and stabilizers that we use, and even binding agents as well. They all come in. And for some of them, we have them locally. But for most, almost all the APIs, that is the active one, we have to import. So we bring them in. Think of it like dilution. So there's the formula. We have what we call the dilution factor. So you bring it in, you look at the inactive ingredients, you put it in, make it stable and possible for someone to take. But if we want to move into full-scale API manufacture, then the plants that we require and everything requires heavy investment, which our current economy is not really helping with that. It requires direct access, just like nowadays people can go and, based on maybe their mining concession they have, go to the bank and get a lot of money to bring in equipment in order to get access to the gold, which obviously they'll be able to pay off. We believe that if we think of our healthcare and our medication in that regard, that as a young man who wants to go into manufacturing, I could go to the bank, and based on that, the bank will assess, and since there's a government policy backing it, I should be able to even build a plant. I don't think that is impossible. That should be possible to do.
Okay, so building up on that, even after getting, the funding and the rest, do you think that maybe Ghanaians or the local manufacturing companies may stand a risk of rejection from Ghanaians, as we tend to have this notion of if it's made in Ghana, it's inferior and all of that?
There's a lot of public education that must be done. So as part of this Know Your Pharmacist agenda, we would include that for people to appreciate the locally manufactured drug so that they can patronize it.
Right. Yes. Okay. So I wanted to, so this question it's a bit of a digression, but speaking of the local manufacturing companies, what is the difference between the locally manufactured medication and then the herbal medications?
So local manufactured is only because it's in Ghana. So it could be the orthodox or the herbal. It is still local. Herbal could be foreign or local. It is still herbal. So the herbal point is where it is made from. It's probably not synthesized. It is obtained directly from plants. We have very well-known, well-established herbal, companies which are foreign for purposes of education. for companies in India like Himalaya, like Charak, like Sri Sri Tatua, which is a university on its own, and they produce the Sri Sri line of products. These are well-known herbal companies, and they are not made in Ghana. So when we talk about herbal, some people may think they are the tree people will say Nubna, that we have done it locally. That is not the only ones which are herbal. So we have foreign companies that are also fully into herbal. But then when we say the local is what we've done in Ghana, like Entrance and NS Chemist, their production.
Right. So again, on the local and herbal issue, does a PSGH have any, jurisdiction over the traditional medicines or herbal medicines that are locally produced too?
So there's actually a traditional medicines council. So they regulate the practice of and production of traditional medicines. So in that you have pharmacists, and the pharmacists are part of the PSGH. So the PSGH sits on the boards to influence policies and all that for the Traditional Medicine Council.
So the pharmacist there plays the double role of representing PSGH.
Just to add more context to that, the pharmaceutical field is probably the most regulated field. The individual who is the pharmacist is regulated by the Pharmacy Council. The place that you stay in to offer your services is regulated by HEFRA, that's the Health Facilities Regulatory Authority. Then the things that you use in your trade, your tools, that is the medication, are being regulated by the FDA. So when it comes to traditional medicine, there's difference. There's traditional medicine, there's herbal medicine, there's the orthodox. So there's the Traditional Medicine Council, which is there. Then the herbal medications are also regulated by the FDA. So you would have the traditional doctor, you'd have the herbal doctor or the herbalist, and you would have the pharmacist. So the pharmacists would have knowledge in the orthodox medication and the herbal medication by virtue of their training in pharmacognosy. Pharmacognosy is the pharmaceutical study of plant-sourced medication. So we are trained, all of us are trained, and there are people who specialize in that. The fun part is that current president is a pharmacognosist himself. So when it comes to medications from herbal sources or plant sources, our current administration is very interested in that.
Right, that's really beautiful. Okay, so moving to the challenges, aside the funding gap, what's the biggest structural challenge that you face, or as Ghana's pharmaceutical sector, what is that biggest structural challenge that's being faced at the moment?
So early on, Dr. Yelaj mentioned the various sectors of pharmacy practice. So looking at community pharmacy, one of the major challenges is people walking in to just request for drug. Like they're just giving you money for a commodity. And so as part of the agenda of PSG, the Know Your Pharmacist agenda, we want to let people know that the pharmacist is the custodian of medicines. And so when you walk into your community pharmacy, you have to look for your pharmacist and ask for a medication. Another challenge we have in the hospitals is the low staff that we have. So recently, the government brought out the link for recruitment of pharmacists. So we want to admonish the government to employ more pharmacists. At least each ward should have a pharmacist, because these pharmacists are there to check medications, check for drug-drug interactions, and a whole lot. Looking at the other sectors, so they all have challenges,
All right. Okay, so because of time, I may have to skip some of the questions I had, but, using our topic for today, which is Ghana's preparation to sustain, or Ghana's ability to sustain the medical security and free healthcare, do you think that Ghana is in that position yet? And if yes, why? If no, where are we? Where do we need to go?
So we want to move to free primary health care, which is more preventive in nature. In prevention, we even have to offer micronutrients. We need to give multivitamins and all of that. I would say we can get there if the government shifts its focus slightly towards medicine security, because free primary health care and strengthening the existing NHIS and even the policy called the Mahama Care, in the long term, they are all medication based. So if we want to have that universal health coverage, then investment in medical or medicine security is something we should really take seriously. We are not there yet, but with the right reset, as this is a reset government, with the right reset in focus, we believe that we'll be able to achieve that.
Okay, so building on that again, how should these policymakers also better integrate the pharmaceutical industry into Ghana's universal healthcare coverage roadmap, so that the pharmacy or pharmaceutical industry is not an afterthought but a foundational pillar?
Yeah. So as part of the free healthcare, there is screening for non-communicable diseases. And so what the policymakers can do is to try and integrate our community pharmacies into this project, so that people can walk in regularly to have their BP checked or their sugar checked, so that we can follow up on their medications and a whole lot. Also, the funding too is very important, so they should also fund the production of medications in the country, so support local manufacturers to be able to produce more medicines for the essential medicines list, and also for the treatment of simple ailments too.
Right. Would you like to add anything, Chairman?
That didn't sound like me. This is the first time someone is addressing me as chairman.
Oh, you're the chairman.
Yeah, but everyone calls me Yelaj. I'm so used to that. So Yelaj you do. Okay, so as she said, it shouldn't be an afterthought. I think pharmacists, when it comes to healthcare, should be a core pillar in every aspect of healthcare, whether it's the community, whether it's the hospital. Every policy we are making, we should ensure that we put the pharmacist first.
Okay. So, because we are pressed for time, I'd like to ask, we've heard that PSGH is marking a very significant anniversary. So can you tell us about the key events and objectives you have lined up, and what the message this milestone is to send to Ghana's broader health sector?
Okay, thank you. As Rachel said in the beginning, PSGH was founded in 1935, the 19th of December 1935. So if you do the math, we were 90 years some few months back. But since this is about science, impact, and legacy, we are having a year-long celebration. We will start with a lunch at Ekropong, and then we would go to Kumasi to talk about our educational impact. Then we'll come back to Accra and talk about what we call the Accra Declaration, which will be focused on regulation. So the regulators will be there to speak about that and make few declarations. Then we will climax everything at the annual general meeting, which is 21st to 24th of September this year at the University of Ghana. Now, the most critical part is what is happening coming Friday. That is next week. This coming Friday, right?
That's May Day.
That's May Day, yes. Yeah. It's a holiday. First May, pharmacists will be resting, and we would use that opportunity to begin what we call the launch and Deba. So we would all move from various destinations, climb up the hill, very nice view, go to Ebri Girls, Okuape Mines Senior High School, then the Presbyterian College of Education, where we would have interaction and engagement with the students and the community at large. From there, we'll drive through the town from Ebri Girls through to Ekropong, let them see that pharmacists are in. Then we'll move to the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, Christ Church, which also holds very significant historic impact. Yes, I'll tell you about that later on Friday when we meet. Then at that place, we would have the Grand Deba, where the Queen Mother at Ekropong will come, the Registrar of the Pharmacy Council would come, the President of the Pharmaceutical Society, Dr. Polo Usudonko, would also be there. It's going to be focusing on the science, impact, and legacy pharmacists have had on Ghana and the world at large.
Right. Okay. So that seems to be a packed, program outline, and I think that we would have to have you back again for the full 1 hour of our conversation. Today we are a bit pressed for time, so that we can get to understand the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana and even the sector, this aspect of healthcare also. But as we are about to wrap up, I would like to ask you, what is the single most urgent message each of you would want to give the Ministry of Health, policymakers, and Ghanaians watching today?
All right. So my simple message to the government is to recruit more pharmacists in the health sector. So in our hospitals, as I said, at least one pharmacist on the ward should be enough. And also with this free primary health care, to try and incorporate our community pharmacies into it. And also to come and support the small-scale manufacturers with funding to be able to produce some of these essential medicines.
All right. Thank you so much. So what about you?
I'm sure the president is listening to Rachel. So I would like to talk to Ghanaians that as a pharmacist, I'm encouraging each and every one of you that you should know a pharmacist. Have a personal relationship. Do not think of the pharmacist as someone you give money in exchange of drugs. Get to know your pharmacist. That is very important. For every health activity, whether you are sick or you want to continue being healthy, get to know a pharmacist today and build a personal rapport with the pharmacist. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. So this conversation was held here among us. Yes, two people from the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana. We have Dr. Elaj and Dr. Enim. And I'm hoping to have them back because the conversation was mainly going to be focused on, the SDG Goal 3 and even the NHIS. And then the free primary healthcare rollouts are started this month. So we are hoping to have you back very, very soon so that we can go deeper for Ghanaians to also understand what that entails. But for now, we'll see you on Tuesday morning. Do have a good day ahead.